Hello, hello. Well, if you've got an event, if you've got a brick and mortar business that is established and you're looking to increase sales or get people in the door with Facebook ads, you've never started with Facebook ads, this is the video for you, hopefully. What I'd like to do is kind of show you how to set up a campaign, not just a basic campaign, but a campaign that will help generate event signups or any sort of promotional sign up, meaning if you have an event, if you have some sort of sale or discount for your services coming up and you'd like to get people in the door or get people signed up for that, this will show you how to set up the campaign properly, usually with only one or two ads to start. So if you've got an ad developed, in this case, the question came along that the person had a video ad developed and they would like to know how to put that out to their customers for their sign up for their current event coming up. They've got about a week or two. What should they do to get that content out in front of cold traffic? How should they target people who are already interested? And then what do we need to do to retarget those people to really get them to sign up? Because most people don't sign up on day one. So you've got a video ad. You'd like to know how to put it out in front of people. Well, in 2019, Facebook is huge with engagement. So because they're huge with engagement, that means that we've got to get some likes and shares to a video before it gains any sort of real traction, unless you have a giant budget. If you've got a giant budget, you can bulldog things, force people to view your video by just feeding Facebook a ton of money and then putting the video out there and hoping for the best. You create a funnel behind that, you're good to go. But that's not most of us. Most of us are running on a small budget. We're just testing Facebook ads. And we don't have a big staff to handle any ad management or the creation of a ton of ads. So we've got one or two ads to start. In this case, we're going to go an engagement campaign. And the reason is we want engagement. Facebook wants engagement first. They're going to serve your ads up for cheap. The further you get down the engagement funnel. So the more engagement you get to your ads, the cheaper those clicks will get. And I'm going to show you a little trick where you can run an engagement ad, build up engagement for that ad, and at the same time run that same ad as a conversion campaign or a reach campaign to help retarget people. So setting up an engagement campaign, you'd go through the steps. I'm assuming most of you know how to do this here. If not, you can check out another video of mine about how to set up a basic campaign. You'll run through, let me start over here. You'll select a campaign. Again, engagement is what we're going for. Traffic you can also do, but a lot of times Facebook is going to send you some junk clicks. So engagement seems to target the right audience, meaning your buying audience versus overseas clicks or just people that Facebook thinks will just funnel through to your site. They oftentimes don't create an action, though. They don't sign up or just totally in the wrong audience, despite what you do for kind of targeting beyond that. A lot of interest targeting is pretty broad on Facebook, and so that causes the problem. Anyways, engagement campaign, you set up the campaign, and then you'd add your video ad. You're going to, at first, with this first campaign, target friends of people who like your page. Again, ideally, you've already got a Facebook page when you're coming to this video. You've got some traffic. You have visitors who come to customers who are using your services or coming to your brick and mortar business already. So you've got a bit of an audience. Retargeting their friends, or rather targeting their friends, will help get the lowest hanging fruit, as most people would say, meaning you're going to try to convert, and Facebook will put a little tag up there that says, Sally from so-and-so already likes this site, or already likes this page. That helps build a little trust right off the bat, obviously. So your first ad, I would recommend you target, again, friends of people who like your page. And that option is down here. Let me see if I can find it. I think I already passed it. Let's see. Add connection type. So here you can do a lot of things. You can exclude people, but in this case, instead of people who like your page, although that's an option too, I just don't have very good, they don't usually convert very well. It just depends on the audience. I shouldn't say that. Some businesses have created a good audience who are highly engaged. They are people who already use your service. Others have spent the time just getting cheap traffic to their page, and by the time they come to me who are or they're ready to run Facebook ads, a lot of their following is not junk, but they are an audience who is not going to engage or buy their products quite often. So it really just depends on how well your audience engages. You can definitely test this and try this new ad on people who like your page. Most of the time, though, I would start with friends of people who like your page. And when you select that, Facebook's obviously going to go out and target people who are listed as friends of people who like your page. Usually that means they're in the same area as you on some small level. Again, everyone's friends are not always going to be in the same area. They're often going to have people who are relatives, friends in other countries, all sorts of things, right? But you're going to get some layer of people in the same area. You're also going to get people who Facebook thinks are, in the same following as your common Facebook audience, if that makes any sense. So they're going to target people who are also in your same location, as long as you target the right locations up here. Again, I wouldn't go further than 15 miles from your brick and mortar locations, but that's totally up to you. If in your location people often drive much further or much shorter, you know that a little bit better than I do. It would be something I would test as your Facebook advertiser. In your case, if you already know that as the business owner, where your customers are coming from, I'm hoping you do. Stick to that area. Try to go for the smallest range. Don't go 30, 40 miles out unless you know you're getting customers from there, because oftentimes people are just not going to drive that far to come see you. There's just other options in their area. Even though you may have the best service, you're going to have to really blow the competition out of the water to be able to get people from that distance. So having said that, target your location, target the best audience that you know converts, not the broadest, just the best audience that you know converts. If it is, in this case, a dance studio, I would target women, 25 to 45 are the best clicking audience on Facebook. If you can get even smaller of an audience than that, great. But Facebook does pretty well with large audiences. So as long as you know your target, stick to that. You can broaden your horizons from there as Facebook feeds you more data, shows you more people who might be interested. But in this case, with your first ad, try to stick to the lowest hanging fruit, those people who are going to convert the best. Language, you don't need to put that in. It'll go to your default language unless you want to specify language. Detailed targeting, you can put in interest targeting, but most of the time with your first ad, I would stick to just men or women, unless you know that both convert very well. And again, the age group. You can put in some detailed targeting, but I would stick to pretty broad. Again, 220 million over here is a little too broad. Sticking at about 10 to 15 million nowadays really does well. You can also go a little bit smaller. In fact, if you're doing a 15-mile radius of your business, it'll oftentimes come out smaller than that. That's okay. Just make sure it stays above 1 million, ideally. Otherwise, Facebook will get a little erratic with trying to find new people, and that'll mean your cost per click will go all over the place, and it'll just look like a bunch of crazy data, and you won't know what to do with it. So try to stick above 1 million people. Try to stick right around 15 to 20 million. But again, if you're targeting, unless you're in a huge city, a 15 to 20 mile radius, you're probably going to be a little bit under that, more around the 1 million range. So once you get your targeting complete, again, this is with your first ad, I would do friends of people who like your page. But again, you can test people who like your page. And then if we run another ad set, if you have a larger budget, you can also test just cold traffic based on one of the demographics up here. So either men or women, certain age groups, or you can go into detailed targeting. I wouldn't recommend that unless you specifically know who your audience is, which I always recommend you know who your audience is before you run Facebook ads. But a lot of people are kind of testing their, they know the basic age group. They may know men or women convert better, but they don't know really what the other side interests are. If you do know some of those side interests, meaning, moms of a certain age may also be into yoga. They probably have a gym membership. If you're trying to get them into your dance studio, targeting people who also like some of these other things are probably going to do pretty well. Again, cold traffic all around is very tough to target on Facebook, but if you use some of these insights that you already know about your customers, and if you do, like I've recommended, targeting friends of people who already like your page, you have a much higher potential of converting this quote unquote cold traffic into customers right off the bat. So the rest of this here, I'm going to pretend you know how to set up. Editing placements, I would try to stick to the feed just to start off. Instagram does not convert very well from the Facebook platform. If you go to Instagram to advertise, that would be another video. I can cover that. But I'd recommend doing that. Instagram converts very well. However, from the Facebook platform, does not do very well. Not sure what it is. They may have improved it somewhat over the past couple months, but lately it just has not seemed to develop and serve up the ads properly. So I'd go to Instagram and try to advertise direct from there if you're going to do that. Otherwise, stick to the Facebook feed and let go all these other options. So uncheck all these other options, stick to the Facebook feed. Every once in a while I'll do Marketplace, but oftentimes I don't recommend it for service customers just because people are usually looking for very low end or just browsing the Marketplace for what's hot or whatever Facebook has hit them up with. I'd stay out of there for now, especially with your first ad on cold traffic. The feed seems to convert the best. Excuse me. You can always go in the suggested videos or in-stream videos, but those are hardcore Facebook users that are moving over to those videos. That would really be usually a younger audience when I say that. So if you're targeting moms or somebody, grandma or somebody higher up in the age group, I would stay out of that and again just stick to the feed. See how that converts, and then you can again expand from there. Go for the lowest hanging fruit, expand out later, especially if you're on a small budget. So uncheck the rest of these, uncheck the audience network. You'll have a very, very hard time converting on the audience network. Messenger, although it's not an option here with an engagement campaign, can be very successful. But again, for your first ads and getting engagement, I don't recommend it. The feed is where it's at. People will like your stuff right away. And it helps, again, lower those costs per click for later down the line clicks with further campaigns. So after all that, I'm probably rambling on and boring you at this point. Set your budget. I would go about where it says about 10 to 15 bucks a day. For engagement, you can go as low as $3 to $5 a day and have huge success. You're just trying to get a good amount of engagement, meaning about 500 engagements plus. So 500 to 1,000 engagements would be great. 300 to 500 is okay, but the more the merrier. And again, if you run this engagement campaign on, let's say, $5 for the day, you're at a pretty low spend, but it's going to continue to just go and go and go and gather engagement. So make sure that, and I forgot to state this at the beginning, make sure when you create these ads, you're creating these as a post on your actual business page. So I'll show you how to do that in another video. If you don't know, you should know how to create posts, organic posts on your business page and then boost them. I know a lot of people say that's something they don't recommend, but the reason you'd want to do that is that post will then live on with all that engagement for life on Facebook. That means a year down the road, if you have a service that you're just promoting that's evergreen, it can last forever. This type of post will allow that ad, even when you stop running ads, to have that post live on forever with all those shares and likes underneath it, all the comments it created when you were running paid ads, to stay on it and generate new traffic for free. So if you are running an evergreen offer, I would create a scheduled post or an organic post on your page and then promote that. If this offer is a one-time offer or an offer that's in the next week or two, I would go ahead and just create a normal ad here within the system. But something to keep in mind, the scheduled posts and those posts that are created organically and then boosted to a paid post, they will live on forever as posts on your page, and they'll keep all of that engagement that you paid for with your ads when you made ad placements. When you ran a campaign. So something to think about there. Anyways, moving on, create the ad. I'll hit continue here. You'll then go and upload your video, create the ad copy, go ahead and hit launch or reviews, and Facebook will go through its thing of reviewing your site, reviewing your ad, and then making it live. So once you've done that, you'll go back to Ads Manager. Let's see if I can get back to the main screen here. And you'll have a campaign set up that will be, let me see if I can just go through the steps. Well, we'll just run through one of these campaigns. You'll have a campaign that's set up with your first ad, and it will be targeting either friends of people who like your page, or it'll be targeting people who like your page in and of itself. Or lastly, it may be targeting just direct cold traffic of a certain age group and either men or women. So if you go that specific or stay kind of with those specifics and don't add interest targeting to start, I think you'll have the best success with just drawing in cold traffic. But I'm going to say at the end of this here, The biggest thing to consider is that cold traffic does not convert very well. What you're going to need to do is set up retargeting after this. So you may have literally a deal or an event that's going to be in a week or so, but you've got to set up retargeting and target those people on day 2, day 3, just so you keep in their mind. And just statistically, people come to your site first to browse. They then either save it for later or get sidetracked or just flat out aren't interested to buy, not in the buying mode coming off of Facebook. So that all being said is why cold traffic does not do very well and why we want to retarget. So once you've set up your initial campaign, it's starting to run, you can go ahead and set up a retargeting campaign, and the retargeting campaign will be based on reach. That'll be the only difference from what we just did now. And you're just going to select reach. I won't go through the steps except for one step in the ad set, which I want to show you what the reach options are. So this campaign is based on reach, meaning it's only going to go after people so many times per day, and you're going to set that down here. So you can leave the targeting open because, again, it's only going to target people who have already visited your website. And how are you going to tell Facebook to only target people who have already visited your website? Well, you're going to create a custom audience, target those people who have already visited your website by telling Facebook, hey, let's go ahead and do that. So if you haven't done this before, you just custom audience, go to website traffic, and then set the parameters you want. Usually 30 days is fine. I'd set a few up, at day 2, day 5, day 10, that sort of thing. Go ahead and set this up, name the audience, and then hit create. Once you create the audience, it will be an option here to select in the targeting under custom audiences. You'll go ahead and select that. And then once you select it, that'll tell Facebook only target the people who have visited my website already. Those people who have visited your website, you'll go ahead and serve up an ad that says something like, well, we saw that you came by. This is pretty cheesy. You'll want to do better than this, but came by our site. We miss you. Here's 10% off or something like that. Or our early bird special ends in 5 days. Don't miss it. Just something to get back in their attention, to let them know that, hey, if you did accidentally forget to sign up, here's the option to sign up again. A very light touch just to say, hey, here we are. And again, only trying to really get the people who may have forgotten to sign up. What Facebook, this is the last part I wanted to show you about the reach campaign. What Facebook will allow you to do is set the frequency cap, meaning how many times is it going to show up in their feed, the person's feed. That's the impression rate. So I usually set that between 1 and 2. And then how many days are going to be to span in between the ad showing up again in someone's feed. So usually I'll put this at 7 to 10 days out, something like that. But I'm going to retarget them again with a follow-up ad after this one. So they've already seen my initial video ad. Based on that interaction, whether they went to my site or how much of the video they viewed, we're setting up a new campaign, which is this campaign, and we're telling Facebook through our custom audiences that we set up, we want to target anybody who's visited our site, or maybe you want to target somebody who's visited or viewed 50% of your video, 75% of your video, whatever the marker is that you want to set. And then you're also going to tell them, hey, we're only going to show our next ad here once or twice in their feed every few days. Once we do that, once we set all this up, you'll hit continue, launch this campaign, and now you have a reach campaign along with your initial campaign running to target all for your event that's coming up. So again, what's going to happen is new customers will see your video ad, they will view it, they'll either click to your site and sign up, or they'll bounce off your funnel and on the second day see this new ad under which is being served up under your reach campaign. That'll tell them, hey, here's a discount, or hey, your ad is the offer's about to expire, the event's about ready to end. If you're interested, now's the time to sign up. So that second campaign will get in their face on day 2. You can set it up to, again, hit the customer up or potential customer up on day 3 or 4. I don't recommend it. I recommend the second ad, and that's it. The second touch, and that's it. What I would then do is set up a second ad set under the same reach campaign that you set up. which would then target them on day 3, and then set up again another ad set which would target them on day 4, and as many times as you wanted. So each ad, I take that back. I'll usually do one around day 2. So they get the initial video on day 1. I'll hit them up with a retargeting ad on day 2. And then usually about day 5 or 7, I'll hit them up with a last chance offer of, hey, the event's about to end. This is your last chance. If you'd like, here's a slight discount. And then if the offer goes past, or maybe you're running an early bird offer and you want to then give them one more shout, I would usually give them one last shout of, hey, this is it. Here's a final discount. If you're interested, great. If not, the deal's gone forever, something like that. Obviously, you'll need to write better copy than that. But that's about it. I wouldn't touch more than 3 or 4 times to a potential customer, just because you're going to start to drive them nuts in your Facebook feed. And if they're not interested, they're not interested at this time. So you've done your best to target that cold traffic and try to turn them into a customer. It's saved you some money by running on low budgets, meaning your first ad's going to run just $5 to $10 a day. And this reach campaign, although you'll set a budget of about $10 a day, all those ad sets will probably only run $3 to $4 a day until Facebook gets that data built up and they start getting all that traffic from your site into your retargeting funnel. That'll take a few days. That'll keep your costs low because, again, you've set the reach pretty low, and that'll keep your potential customers from being driven nuts by all your ads. So I hope this kind of makes sense. I know I rambled on a bit and the video went a little bit longer than I wanted, but the basic steps are: set up a campaign, an engagement campaign, run your video ad to cold traffic, or through a second ad set, you can test running it to friends of people who like your page or people who like your page. So that could be one big ad set with all 3 of those targeting markers in there: friends who like your page, people who like your, friends of people who like your page, people who like your page is the second one, and then direct cold traffic of either women of a certain age or men of a certain age, depending on your past customer data. So I would recommend splitting those into 3 ad sets and just trying one to start. And the best one I would say that converts is friends of people who like your page. But if that audience is pretty small, put all 3 into one ad set. That way you can give Facebook as much data as possible. They'll work for a bit to try to see how the video does in front of that audience. If that audience is still too small, you can add some cold traffic to that same ad set and let Facebook serve it up again, see how it does. Once that gets rolling after about 4 to 6 hours, as long as you know the video is getting some clicks and some views and isn't something that you need to redo, then you can go ahead and set up a reach campaign as your second campaign. That will be your retargeting. And the reach campaign should have several ad sets in it. And those several ad sets will contact people on day 1. They'll then contact people on day 2 or 3, and then usually on day 5 or 7 with a last chance offer. And you're going to make sure that you're going to create custom audiences and then also exclude the custom audiences from the other ad sets so that you don't have any overlapping traffic. I can explain that in another video, but it's pretty straightforward. Just basically create your custom audiences for the different website traffic that you wanted, and then go ahead and exclude those in each ad set. So each ad set, like the day 1 ad set, let me just go ahead and show you. Maybe it is a little bit more complex than I forget. So the day 1 ad set will exclude customers from any other ad set, meaning we don't want it to show again to people on day 7. We want them to see the day 7 ad, right? So if I have one ad set and I wanted to exclude from others, maybe the day 3 or day 7 ad set, let's pretend this is the day 1 ad set. I'd go into my custom audiences section here and hit exclude. And then I'd go ahead and exclude the custom audiences that I wanted. Maybe I want to exclude all traffic 30 days out, whatever the case may be. So once you do that, that'll tell Facebook that, hey, look, this first ad set is only going to be served up to the people on day 1. This next ad set will be served up to the people, to any people after day 1, all the way up to whatever you set, day 3, day 5, whatever it may be. And then the next ad set will target people with that last chance offer on day 5, 7, or 10, depending on how long your funnel is, with whatever offer it is, but it'll exclude all the past traffic. That way they don't see any of the day 1 ads or day 3 ads on our last chance offer. They only get that 1 ad served up, and we don't jam their feed up with 5 or 10 of the same ads that don't make sense. So I'll cut this video short, or as short as I can. I'll try to make a few more to explain this process, but hope that kind of helps you guys out, that the basics of getting started. If you have a video ad, if you have an event that you want to run and you've got 1 or 2 ads that you want to target, but you're trying to target cold traffic, and of course you already have some sort of audience, it is really a good idea to set up an engagement campaign to start and then retarget with a reach campaign. Those are the main success points of the video I wanted you to get. As long as you set things up that way, it'll keep your costs extremely low. It'll also help you get retargeting, get you conversions, which could be purchases or signups, at a very, very cheap cost overall. So you can still build a small funnel, but on a very low budget. All right, thanks guys. Hope that helps. Have a great day.